So we're continuing the second part. So there's another way here to say about sending the miraglim. Because you already said, למה היו צריכים דווקא אנשים ראשי ישראל, right? So one of the question was, why are you sending as spies the leaders? You send people that were qualified to be spy, train agents, right? And after all, they failed. So how is it possible? And the Torah testifying that כולם אנשים ראשי בני ישראל, right? They were like in the level of Yoshua and Caleb. So what's that Sitra Achwa, the other side, that strength, that power that caused them to fail so miserably? And even Yoshua and Caleb, that they passed the test, but still, Yoshua needed the davening of Moshe, Caleb went to the Kivrei Avot, right? And Moshe changed Hoshea to Yoshua, right? So you see that there was like some steps here that they needed to happen in order for them to pass the test. And the explanation, according to what he wrote in the book Maor 9, on the pasuk, "Ki tivne bait chadash v'sita makel," right? So there was a mitzvah to build a rail, a guardrail to the roof. And he says when somebody is building a new house, then unfortunately people have ayin hara. People say, no, how come you have the money? So he's now building a new home, a new house. Look at this. He made his money from this. No, it's inheritance. No, it's this, that, right? The people try to disturb him. Why? Because the Sitra Achra dwell in the desolate, in non-habitat places. And when a person building a new house is like he's pushing their legs, he's pushing the Sitra Achra, right? You can say that the Sitra Achra are like demons. And that's why they try to prevent him from doing that. By the way, there was another important thing that if somebody already have a house or a home, it's really bad to seal the windows or to close entrances, doors. For example, somebody said, I have a window here. I want to build bricks, then I want to open a window on the other side or to close that. That's not good. So there are ways to overcome. Like, for example, you put a pipe, some kind of a small pipe, so that whoever is in the house can go in and out freely because they're using doors and windows to get in and out. So he says, so when somebody trying to build a rail or be a new house, then people are trying to, because the Isitra Achwa, they're trying to prevent him. And he said, and every time, right, when somebody's trying to do something, buying something, right, always there is someone, אנשים מסביבו הקמים להצר לו, right, to stress him. So he said, and why? Because that person maybe have dinim, have judgment in Shamayim. And the Sitra Achra are actually going on these people surrounding him to cause him trouble. And really, these people are not, it's not their fault. They don't want to mean harm. But the Sitra Achra is dwelling with them, within them. And for that, the Torah is saying, "Ki tivne bait chadash," that you will build a new house. And you should have a guardrail. Ve'asita, it's like a tikkun. And ma'akeh, again, it's in Hebrew word for me'ikim. Me'ik, something me'ik, it's something that is stressing you. That's me'ik. So vasita melishon tikkun, v'ma'akeh melishon me'ikim. That you should fix all the one that's stressing you, that's causing you trouble, problem. How? By gagcha. So the gag we know that we learn again, we learn in Hasidut. So gag is the upper part of the house, and it's also upper part of our head, that we should be elevated to an upper world, which means our brain, our sechel. היינו שתדבר בקדוש ברוך הוא, that we should cleave to Hashem. And then by default, then we're doing that, יונח לך מכל הצרות. Then all the problem will be going away. Rest. When we're cleaving to Hashem. And we can say another thing, את עניין המרגלים. שבשעה שעמדו ישראל להיכנס לארץ ישראל, when they were about to get into the land of Israel, that the Gedusha in Israel is so strong, but every time we know when you have a mighty force of Gedusha, you have a mighty force of Tuma, the opposite. And that was the strength of the 7 nations that were dwelling in Israel at the time. That was the strength of the Sitra Achra, on the other side. And they were trying very hard to prevent us from getting to the land of Israel and to dwell. And for that, we need mighty people. We need the leaders to go in and break the Sitra Achra, the other side. And we learned before that they conceived the souls of the 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Yaakov, because they need really a strong power. You know, it sounds like a science fiction movie when the, you know, maybe the force with you and the fight of the light in the darkness, but literally it is. And we see today, we really see it today. And therefore, even that, these souls of the tribe were not good enough. And that's why what Moshe was telling Yoshua, Hashem Yoshiacha me'atzat meraglim, that Moshe knew the danger, not from the people from the 7 nations, but from the other side, the spiritual, the Tuma, that is very dangerous. So he told Yoshua, he's giving actually a blessing, Hashem will save you from the meraglim. Indeed, Hashem gave an advice how to overcome the evil inclination on the Sitra Achra, the other side. That besides that, this person, these people, the leaders, the head of the tribe, beside the fact that they were head of the Bnei Israel, they should also be humble and mevutalim to Moshe, like subject to Moshe. But Moshe is the Rav. And to do what Moshe asked them to do, not to have their own agenda. That's why Hashem told Moshe, Shelach lecha leda'atcha, which means people that will be connected to you, to break the evil forces. They need to connect themselves to the tzaddik. And that's it's a main principle in Hasidut, that you always connect yourself to a Rebbe, the Rebbe, because he's a tzaddik. And that will give you the strength to become a tzaddik as well, and to have siyata d'shmaya. And that was the power of Yoshua and Caleb, because they were connected to Moshe. Right? And it says, "Umesharto Yoshua binu lo yamish mitoch ha'el," that Yoshua didn't leave the tent, right? The oil, and Caleb, vayahas Caleb et ha'am, right? And he was talking favorably about Moshe and etc. And he even said, if Moshe will tell us to build ladders to get to the sky, we'll do that. You know, we don't ask questions. We just do whatever he tells us to do, and we will be succeeding, whatever he's telling us. So as long as they were connected to Moshe, they had the power to overcome the Atzat HaMeraglim. ויש לפרש, we can explain, מאמר ז"ל במדרש רבה, למה נסמכה פרשת מרגלים לפרשת מרים? So why these two parashiyot are attached? The Miriam, right, that was just talking about Moshe, because she was getting a tzarat, right? And they didn't learn Musar from what happened, right? So they didn't learn Musar, and that's why we have these two parashiyot close to each other. Another advice Hashem gave us, as it says, Lev nishbar v'nitke, Elokim lo tivzeh. A broken heart Hashem will not despise. Even though it's appropriate to despise that person, but because his heart is broken, Hashem will not despise him. ואף זה נקרא, and also included when Hashem told Moshe, שלח לך לדעתך, send for yourself, that they should hold in the middle of Moshe, when it says, והאיש משה ענב מכל אדם, right? מאוד מכל אדם, that Hashem is very much humble from any person on earth, right? On any person, and they didn't. They were the head, they were the leaders, but they were not humble, and they wouldn't have a broken heart. Only Yoshua and Caleb, and you can see, for example, so the fact that Moshe changed Yoshua's name, Yeshua didn't reject it, right? If somebody will come to you and said, okay, I'm going to change your name, you're no longer Mordechai, you are now Mord, a Rav, you will have something inside said, how come, why? They didn't ask question, right? And Caleb went to Daven, he was asking for help. So you see that they were very humble, right? And it says, ועבדי כלב עקב רוח אחרת הייתה עמו, and my servant Caleb, because he have a different spirit within him, because he was very humble. He was very humble. And then another way we can explain, והנה כשאו מפרשים על תחילת דברי המרגלים, the מפרשים, the interpreter have a question, באנו לארץ אשר שלחתנו וגם זבת חלב ודבש וזה פריה. אפס כי אז העם היושב בארץ וערים בצורות גדולות מאוד, וגם ילדי ענק ראינו שם, right? So he said, they started with praises. You send us to the land of milk and honey. Wow, look at the fruit, giant fruits. But the people over there are very strong. They lived in fortress, and we saw giants. So they started with praises, and they end up with gnut. She said, it's not good to start with praises and end up with a negative thing. If you have a feedback, start with the feedback, but end up with a good thing, because that's the main thing. So you see from here that actually they wanted to say Lashon around the land of Israel, right? And he said, and we can say it furthermore, according to Derech HaAvoda, that yes, we know that the Meraglim were great people, and the mistake was that the land of Israel is like a worse place in spiritualism for the people of Israel, because it's a land of milk and honey, which means people will have desire for food, tavat achila, that you don't have it in other places, right? So the Midrashim say that you know the honey is flowing from the fig trees or from the palm trees and get mixed with the milk from the sheep, like it's like very utopic the description. So it's a tavat achila, and they said no, it's not good for us to live over there because that klipa is very strong. And also the source of the klipa, which is Amalek, which Amalek planting doubts in the heart, is sitting in the Negev and the Chiti and the Yebusi, all, all the bad, all the Tuma, the strongest side of the Tuma, dwelling in the level of Israel. And then you have the food and everything, lots of desires. And they said that's why we cannot get into there because we're going to sink in all this filth and the Tuma and the desire. Nobody could stand that. And if in Egypt we had an Nisayon of poverty, but now we're going to have the Nisayon of wealth, and that's very difficult to get over. But truly, he said here that was a mistake. And Moshe himself, he was not concerned from that claim that it's a land of desires and everything. He said that's the whole point of the creation, that we should fight the desire, not to isolate ourselves from desire, right? To face it, not to go and live alone on a mountain. And that was the answer, because Hashem wanted to dwell in this world, right? So we need to build him a temple, a mikdash, v'shechanti betocham. And that was the answer for the Meraglim. That really, this is what we're supposed to do. And from that reason, right, we found that the Nazir, nikra choteh, right? Somebody that, for example, saw things that he shouldn't, or face something that is a sin, right? Like, for example, Isha Suta, a woman that did something. So then the right parashat attached to it is Nazir. So anyone that see a woman doing something should prevent himself from drinking wine, because wine is like a source of trouble. But he said, but after all, that person that in one hand is really want to prevent himself from future sins, so he's preventing himself from drinking wine or even eating grapes and even eating raisins, but still he's called the chote. Like he prevents himself from something that Hashem have in this world for us to enjoy it. Because Hashem wants us to eat, Hashem wants us to drink, moderate, of course, for Shem Shamaim, right? So the Nazir is preventing himself. So in one hand, it's good that he's doing it because this is keeping him out of trouble. But in the other hand, it's like he's not enjoying from what Hashem created, right? And that's the whole point. And that's why we have the Shefa in the land of Israel, the wealth over there. וזה שאמרו יהושע וכלב, כי לחמנו הם, and they said they are like bread. So that's a hint, right? Like, for example, when you want to describe something easy, let's say that you have an enemy, you can say, oh, fighting him is like walking in the park, right? It's mean that it's going to be easy. So they use metaphorically the word bread, ki lachmenu hem. So lechem again is a hint about the source of the desires, because it's bread, which means food, right? As our sage said על הפסוק, אם הלחם אשר אוכל, כל זה לחמנו, that's the bread that we eat, right? Fighting them will be like eating a bread. וזה מה שהתורה מעידה, טובה הארץ מאוד מאוד, right? And the land is very very good. This is what the Torah testifying and saying. שמושג טוב בתורה, אינו שיש שם דברים ערבים. So the Torah, when the Torah said something about something that is very good, doesn't say that you have sweet things there to eat. But it says it's good for the purpose. And the purpose is to cleave to Hashem. So Hashem created the land of Israel, facilitated with all the means and all the things that we need for us to be cleaving to Hashem. Not that He created it just for eating. The eating will bring us close to Hashem if we do it L'Shem Shamayim. And that's why the land of Israel is the source of the good. And giving us the strength for us to cleave to Hashem and to break the Sitra Akra. And again, and not like the claim of the Meraglim when they said, Eretz Ochelet Yoshvea, it's a land that's eating its citizen with a desire. Said, no, that's the whole point. We need to find these desires and fix them. And our sages said in Masechet Sotah, Bapirush, Ki chazaku mimeno, that they're stronger than them. It said it's like Kiv Yachol on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like שאין בעל הבית יכול להוציא כליו, שממש כפרו בעיקר. They said it's like Hashem cannot make it happen. It's not. Hashem, like, they're stronger than Hashem. Hashem cannot take out the nation from the land, or they cannot take out something from the land of Israel. So that's a heretic. And that's why they say לשון הרע. ובזוהר הקדוש it says, אמר רבי שמעון. So we learn from this parasha the secrets, we learn the chokhmah, which is the very high secret. And he said, they מפרש כל העניין בעבודת השם. Again, we learn חסידות, right? עבודה. שהקדוש ברוך הוא משתבח בתורה ואומר לישראל, לכו בדרכיי ועסקו בעבודתי, ועל ידי זה תזכו לגן עדן. So Hashem is like praising in the Torah, and he's telling us, go in my path, learn Torah, do the avodah, and by that you're going to gain Gan Eden, heaven. And Hashem is telling them, send spies to look how good is that place. Ve'im tomru, but if we said, how can we get go into the land and spy and investigate? So they said, Aluze Banegev, go over there, go here, go to the south. So he said, when a Jew is dealing with the Torah, learning the Torah is like announcing him the reward of Avodat Hashem. And if the Meraglim, right, Ve'ilo Meraglim, Ve'ashuvu Mitur, they came back from the land of Israel after they were spying, they left the path of the truth, and like they fall into the hand of the Sitra Acha. And they said, Shomnam Tova, Aretz Alyona Meod. Yes, the upper world, the spiritual part of Israel is very good, but the people that dwell over there in the land itself, the lower land, are very strong. And we need special condition to deal with the Torah, because the Torah makes us weak, and they are very strong over there, so it's not going to help us. And also the Amalek Yoshev Ba'aretz, which means in the area of the upper world, you have also the Sitra Achra, the other side, that preventing from us to learn Torah and to gain all the reward that Hashem prepared for us. And what was the conclusion from because of that? Bo v'nashuv v'nered leMitzrayim, which means let's go down back to Egypt, which means lechol hapachot, at least we're going to enjoy from this world. Why to suffer in the land of Israel? So let's go back to Egypt. Wasn't bad, right? We always have the tendency to remember the good things, which basically was no good thing in Egypt besides some free food, but that's again slaves' food. And according to that, the Zohar is explaining each and every teva from this parasha. He says, that the reliable one were Yoshua and Caleb. And they said, if Hashem wants to give us, He will give us the land. It doesn't matter who is there. Like how crazy you can be. You saw the 10 plagues, you see the splitting of the sea, you see all the miracles, you see everything. Who cares who live in the land of Israel? They can be giants. So what? Hashem make them disappear. We have to trust Hashem blindly, literally blindly, right? יש לבאר על פי האמור עוד העניין לחם. So we're going back to the bread, and it's a hint about two things. Lechem, literally, which is desire of eating, and lechem is also metaphorically a woman, lechem asher ochel, which is the two desires, food and women. And with them, we have the main war against the evil inclination, the Yetzer. And the perfection is by mitkadesh in these two things. As it says, al shte lechem mivtzeut mimim, right? So we always thinking about, we do a kiddush on two breads. But basically, it's the kiddush that you have to sanctify yourself with the two breads, which is desire of eating and desire for women. But the purpose of desire of eating is good, because you want to actually make a bracha, right? If we didn't have the desire to eat, nobody will eat. We'll all be skinny, very skinny. But we have the desire to eat. But here we say, according to the Baal Shem Tov, that it's good to have a desire to eat. Again, moderate, because you do blessing, you do brachot, and you're fixing the soul that is reincarnating the food. And for the same thing from the other side, about the other desire, right? So he said that there is a positive and there is a negative desire. So if we have a desire for food, then that would be positive if we're doing. I don't remember who was the Rav that said that the only reason why he eat an apple so he can say bracha. That's a level. That's a level. So he said, and we need to be careful not to fall into the shell. And this is the explanation, ki lachmenu, these are our bread, these are the desire that we have. And that is actually supposed to come from the shore, from the root of the Kedusha. And I think we're going to finish with this part. I know it was a little bit long. And that was the answer for what the Meraglim said, Ephes ki azam, but the people that dwell are very strong, because we cannot reach to the Kedusha. And therefore, you know what, if we cannot get, it's like all or nothing. It's all or nothing. We cannot get to the Kedusha, so let's go down again to Egypt. And therefore, the punishment of the Meraglim was very severe. And this desert, Riplu, right? Your body will fall corpse from 20 years old, right? In the desert, because this world is look like a desert, even though we can see forest and everything, but metaphorically, spiritually, it's a desert, place of snake, serpent, and scorpion, right? The Torah could use different type of wild animal, but snake, scorpion, etc., they're all like nicknames for evil inclination and sitra achra, the other side. So if a Jew is being elevated and he know that everything that he is connected to the root of the Kedusha and he can conquer, then he can conquer all. But the Meraglim, they claim, no, we cannot achieve and get the Kedusha to upper world. And therefore, their punishment was in the desert, to die in the desert. And it says in the holy books, to Eretz Canaan, right? The land of Canaan is not only the name of the nation that lived, but Canaan, it's also people that are humble, nichnaim, surrender. That Hashem gave the land only to the one that are very humble, nullify themselves to Hashem. And the Meraglim were nullifying themselves to the evil inclination and not to Hashem. And therefore they couldn't get to the land. And only Yeshua and Caleb, that they nullified the Sitra Achra, and they humbled themselves and they were surrendered to Hashem, right? They were the servant. They left alive and they have the merit to inherit the land. And he said about Shabbos, right? He's always keeping back to Shabbos. And it says in the Zohar Kadosh that all the evil forces in Shabbat are running away. They want to dwell, they want to hold on, but the Gedusha of the Shabbat is so great, and they're just getting scared and afraid, and they're running away. And that's for us a good chance to continue from the Shabbat to the rest of the days. So basically, we started this part about why we send Meraglim in first place. Moshe has his own agenda to check spiritually level of the land of Israel. The Meraglim had their own agenda, and the reason why, because they didn't humble themselves and connected to Moshe. Caleb and Joshua did that. Moshe was checking the spiritual level, they were checking the physical level, and then that's why they said on physical level, we have no chance, we better go back to Egypt. There were other reasons that we talked about, but basically that was the main question, and why we were sending the leaders, because Moshe wanted them to check the spiritual level, and for that you need a rabbi, you need a leader, spiritual leader, and not a 007 CIA agent. Thank you very much for listening. I know it was a little bit long, but just remember the main thing, and that's the takeaway from, I think, from this year, that we always have to trust Hashem no matter what is going on, because Hashem knows what He's doing, and He can do whatever He wants, right? And He wants only good for us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for giving the shiur. Have a wonderful Shabbat, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good Shabbat.
Good Shabbat.